Good
Morning.
morning. Morning. Let's see. Let me grab my. Okay, so do we have an Edward Wilson here this morning?
Yes, Edward is here.
Okay, great. And Mr. Saffel, you're ready to go, or would you like a breakout room with Mr. Wilson?
No, we're ready to go. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Let me get the judge and we'll get started here. We're ready to get started when you are, Judge.
All right, good morning. This is People versus Edward James Wilson, file 121459SD, and Mr. Saffel is here on behalf of the defendant. And this is the date for a probation violation hearing. Ms. Taylor is here from our probation office. So, Mr. Saffel, what does your client wish to do about the probation violation?
He's going to take responsibility for the violation, Your Honor. He'd like to pay his fines and costs and put this behind him.
Okay. So, Mr. Wilson, is that correct? You want to admit to the violation?
Yes, sir.
Right. I need to explain some rights to you. You do have a right to a hearing to contest the allegations against you, and apparently you've talked to Mr. Saffel and you'd prefer to admit to the violation, correct?
Correct.
Is it? Okay. And you understand that by pleading guilty to a probation violation, the worst that could happen is you could be sentenced to up to 93 days in jail, minus any credit for time served.
Yes, sir.
And no one's used any force or threats or used any pressure to get you to plead guilty to the violation or promised you what I might do.
No, Your Honor.
All right. So then is it true you were placed on probation for impaired driving on June 29th, 2012? And as a condition of that probation, you were to provide proof of, provide proof of drug and alcohol testing, complete the basic awareness group counseling, and make monthly probation meetings.
Yes.
And is it also true that you failed to provide proof that you had completed the drug and alcohol testing, the basic awareness group counseling, or to make monthly probation meetings?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then to those violations, how do you plead?
I plead guilty.
To those three violations, how do you plead?
I plead guilty.
All right, thank you. will accept your plea. And now, Mr. Saffel, is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of Mr. Wilson before I decide what to do here?
Yes, just briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Wilson understands that not only did he make a huge mistake by drinking and driving earlier in his life, in about 9 years, but then he sort of panicked after starting his probation and partially complying. He left the state, and this was a difficult period of his life. He understands that it was a huge mistake, and he's taking full responsibility for it. The court should understand that except for possibly a possession of marijuana charge when he was very young, he's got a clean record. He's living in Leelanau County now. He's returned to the area. His family's here. He's starting a business in Leelanau County. And he would like to get this matter behind him, get those fines and costs paid immediately, and move on with his life. I know the probation officer's recommendation is to revoke probation as unsuccessful, pay the fines and costs, and he's fine with that. He did spend, I believe, 36 hours in jail when he was picked up on this. We'd ask that the court waive any further jail time, that he get credit for his time served, and allow him to move on from here today. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Wilson, is there anything you'd like to add?
That I realized the seriousness of the mistakes I've made in the past, and I take full responsibility and just want to move forward with my life.
All right, well, this is sentencing on a probation violation. The facts are the defendant was involved in a vehicle crash back in 2012. It was a pretty serious crash. One vehicle went off the road into some trees. The defendant had a, I believe it was a 0.09 blood alcohol concentration at the time, and pled guilty to a charge of impaired driving. The defendant was placed on probation and basically skipped out, didn't do any of the rehabilitative tasks that he was asked to do, including a basic awareness group, which typically is only ordered if there is a substance use problem. And there would have been an evaluation. I can't say I've reviewed that, but that's typically why basic awareness group is ordered and not simply a highway safety program or something like that. So the defendant decided to, I guess, take matters in his own hands. And so I view this as, at this point, more of a contempt of the court than a punishment for the original offense. There has to be a consequence for completely failing to complete probation. And as Mr. Saffel says, you want to take responsibility for this. Responsibility means you will go to jail today. And that means, and that is, I'm going to keep it to the minimal amount that Ms. Taylor has suggested. That's 5 days. You need to turn yourself into the Leelanau County Jail by 4 p.m. today. Your probation is revoked as unsuccessful, and I will preserve fines and costs. We're all set for today. Feel free to sign off at this time.
Your Honor, could we ask that he receive some credit for the
No, that's 4 or 5 days in addition. The report actually indicates there was no credit, but I'll take your word for it. There were 3 days, but this is additional. This is for completely failing to complete the terms of the probation and skipping out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.